Former Australian journalist remembers Sir Michael. Old friend and schoolmate pays tribute. And 54 new cases with 16 deaths reported.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Orere.
Good evening and welcome to Sunday's news. Australian journalist Noel Pascoe became acquainted with the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare in the 70s. He was a young journalist attached with Post Courier and had the task of documenting the events that unfolded in PNG's first years of self-governance and independence. Little did he know he was going to become part of the PNG's history when Sir Michael invited him to take part in his chieftaincy ritual.
This is the picture provided by Mr. Noel Pascoe as he reflects of the time he was invited by Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare to join him in dressing up traditionally. With the passing of Sir Michael, he shares this story with us. The year was 1973.
I went along to his village in the Murray Lakes of East Sepik back in about 1973 with a bunch of other journalists from overseas and Papua New Guinea. We were invited to see Sir Michael emerge from the houseman at Kaiwe village. He'd been through several episodes of being groomed for leadership of the clan, and this was to be the final session. We went by a coastal boat down the coast from Wewak, along slow cruise up the Sepik River past Angoram, and arrived at Kaiwe village late in the afternoon. We male journalists were invited to join Sir Michael in the house Tambran to see what it was like.
While the other journalists left to take a break, Pascoe was fascinated about the ritual and remained, a decision he has never forgotten.
After a while, the fellow was a bit tired. They wanted to have a break from the session, so the journalists went back to their own hut where they were living, just to have a break, cup of coffee, drink or so. Myself, I was fascinated by the whole occasion, with all the decoration things being done to Sir Michael and the atmosphere of the House Tambran. So I didn't join the other journalists. I stayed back in the House Tambran and kept watching. And lo and behold, Sir Michael bobbed up and said, "No, look, you seem very interested in what's happening here. Would you like to have the same thing done to you?" I said, "Oh, what do you mean?" "Well, my uncles can dress you up the same way as I am, and you can take part in the ceremony." And being a very young, inexperienced fellow in PNG, I was quite surprised but delighted. So I said, "Okay, go ahead." And I sat down on a little wooden stool then while his uncles came around and started colouring up my skin to make me look a bit brown, and all the decorations around my arms and ankles and neck and so on. It was fascinating.
Among the whole ceremony, he remembers two distinct rituals: exiting the house Tambaran.
Early in the morning, it was time to come out for him to emerge from the house Tambaran and to be greeted by his people as the new leader. And all of a sudden, a number of the men in the house Tambaran lay down on the bamboo floor, prostrating themselves there in front of him. About 6 men, I think it was, and Sir Michael stood up, walked across and walked over those fellows, his relations, to get to the entrance and leave the house Tambaran. Turned around and he looked at me and said, "Okay, Noel, it's your turn now, come on." And being a typical young Aussie bloke, I wasn't used to standing on other people's bodies. And I said, "Oh, I can't do that, I can't do that." "No, do it, you've got to do it now." So I almost skipped across their bodies and as light as I could, and we went outside.
And the Kulau experience.
Everyone was gathered in various locations around the village, and we did a ritual walking around the village. Sir Michael would stop every 20 or so yards, and there would be the young women, or the women of the village, gathered there. One would crack a kulau, a drinking coconut, drink from the juice, and then spit it across the face of Sir Michael. And again, I was a bit stunned by this. It didn't look like a very good thing to do, but that was the ritual, so I just went along with it. And we proceeded through the ceremony around the village. to a throne that had been created for Sir Michael to sit up there and greet his one talks after the ceremony.
It was an experience of a lifetime he will never forget.
It was a great occasion. I was delighted to be involved in that way, and we'll never forget it.
Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
Nanogideon Ahe isn't a name many know, but he was one of those people who spent time with the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare during their days as students. From Dregahafen to the Administration College, they were amongst other young Papua New Guineans who put aside regional differences and spoke for an independent and united Papua and New Guinea. Mr. Ahe, alongside the late Sir Michael, was one of the founding members of the Bully Beef Club. Tonight, he remembers an old friend, Lucy Kopana, with this story.
82-year-old Nanogideon Ahe holds a picture of his schoolmates from the Administrative College in Port Mosby in 1965. He points to himself on the second row and continues naming others in the picture. It's a photo of the original Bully Beef Club. Amongst them were Albert Maori Kiki, Jerry Nalau and Michael Somare, who all went on to becoming key figures in PNG politics. Nanong paid tribute to the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, saying he was always vocal. His relationship with Sir Michael started at Dregahafen in Finschhafen. When they got to the Administrative College, this group of like-minded people set aside regional differences and spoke for an independent and united Papua New Guinea. This was the beginning of the Bully Beef Club that later became Pangu Party. As would old friends, he had some fun stories to tell about the late Sir Michael. But as he sits in his village in Yanga, he mourns the death of a friend and brother. Nanogideon Ahe and Sir Jerry Nalau are now amongst the remaining members of the original Bully Beef Club that started at the Administrative College in the 1960s. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
Former party president of the National Alliance, Simon Kaiwe, remembers Sir Michael as a selfless man who thought of others before himself. Kaiwe, who was party president during NA's reign in government from 2002 to 2011, recalled asking Sir Michael why East Sepik was seeing little development compared to other provinces. Sir Michael's response to Kaiwe that day is now commonly known throughout the country.
East Sepik was truly neglected. Yeah. When I said that, I said it with my heart. But he said, you know what he said to me? I'm talking to me. So, President, he's away. Time me like clean pig na, me like clean puk. Me like give him a line past them. I give him another line past them. He go in up. Somebody stop me again. No cat maski. Me la olimbuna. Me la stop strong yet. That was the end of my question. I got the message loud and clear. And that's something I will say it when I come on Sunday, but me thanking the East Sepik people for putting him into Parliament year after year after. And his dream of this nation to become a nationhood came about during his own time, and I'm happy that it happened that way. And time me talk also me know what more talk now. But that's how community was. He was thinking about every other province, every other Papua New Guinea, from Nigri Islands to Papua to the Upper Islands, even Morobe na, West Sepik na, Madang also. But East Sepik, he just let them. Now Sepik also good long and tuna. They keep on putting him back.
Papua New Guinea Teachers Association President Aita Sanankepe and Vice President Sinel Kou have passed on their condolence messages to the family of late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. Mr. Sanankepe said that Sir Michael was a teacher before politics and urged all teachers across the nation to pay their respects in this time of mourning.
We pay special tribute to the service to this nation. As a teacher, NBC, then the father of this nation. And now we know that people all over Papua New Guinea, they pouring in their condolences, and on behalf of all the teachers in the country, we're now telling the nation that the teachers recognize the important role he played.
He was one of our pioneering members of the PNG TA. And he was a teacher. In fact, that was his first job. It is very important for the teachers to mourn and celebrate with everyone else. In the house cry, wherever you are, it is very important that we observe these 2 weeks.
Former MPs of Lagai Pogara in Enga recently shared their experience while serving under the leadership of late Sir Michael. They uttered words of a visionary leader who wanted to see Papua New Guinea rise as a nation and benefit from its vast resources. Many say Sir Michael's guidance and political stamina proved to world leaders that he had something special for this small nation. The death of Sir Michael has gathered 8 former MPs who served during 1965 to the current MP Tomait Kapili in the Lagai Pogara electorate.
And me one day mage jamare me play go gijim chapang kaman me yachulo gijim chapang kaman. Now you ba lagi now
me ba selekim ditula selection belong wagim ditula because this bla ba showing lombo da beginning lo me bla one tani me bla aw me bla down aw me bla lurulungan one tani and represent him also imaginary one legendary leader visionary leader Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare and represent him Kostoplonga. Now I must get out and I make him happy. So I have to select that. And then I have to select the islands around us, which is attached to that parliament over there. So I picked that to honor the late Sir Michael Thomas Somare.
And been hard talk on Axim Papua New Guinea now people are mamas and I new generation voting all them. Easy looks independent, but Somare wagem big plan walk na him independent. So me sure lombara blomi Somare na all the people of Papua New Guinea me blamas sure lo him because he's the chief. He has done a lot to our country na him wagem big plan something na me bla free now.
Chimbu Province was part of the contingent that was at the national house cry of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare. At the 6th night yesterday, Chimbu Province, along with Eastern Highlands, paid their tributes to the Grand Chief with a commanding lamentation by member for Sinasina Yongomu Kerenga Kua.
Night 6 of the house cry of late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare yesterday saw tributes by Simbu and Eastern Highlands provinces. The contribution by Simbu province during the walk to independence was highlighted, mentioned by Chuave MP Wera Mori, naming leaders like Sir Joseph Nombri and Sir Yambake Okuk as colleagues of Sir Michael who supported him in seeking self-governance from Australia.
We know that we are a province that is devoid of natural resources. We do not matter much when it comes to determinations and distribution of resources. But when Somare, when the great chief was a prime minister, he held Chimbu to his dearest heart. He worked with the late Seyambaki Hokuk to bring in independence. My late uncle, Sir Joseph Nombri, was part of this team that basically led to self-government and independence. He was a son of Kondo Mangando, who walked the talk of what Kondo Mangando have preached.
Kerenga Kua, member for Sinasine Yongumul, who was a close associate to Sir Michael, had two parts to his tribute: a commanding lamentation in his language, which he walked to and fro chanting of Sir Michael's contribution to the nation and his life as a leader, the Grand Chief of this country.
Michael Somare mo kurma. Ene bagita mot gono. Sampla tok mi wokilo tok place. Mi tokolsem. Michael Somare emiga tribal vision. Well, people looking mountain. Michael Somare sa lugu go backside lo display mountain. Time of people looking tutak. Michael Somare I blame sa go through the darkness.
Kua said during the process of independence, Sir Michael had only a handful of Papua New Guineans with university qualifications and was under criticism by the Australian government that the country would not succeed. But the Grand Chief never gave in.
Plenty white man all discourage him. All leadership structure blow me. All talking no possible. You need him sour man. And they had a case. That was true. They were talking on facts. You know got sour man, lo leading you, lo public service, lo judiciary, lo parliament, lo kind work, lo churches, lo business. You must wait past them. But Somare no got patience blame. And thank God he had no patience for that kind of argument. Thank God.
Kua, who was commanding in his tribute, also wanted a public apology from those that were involved in the Grand Chief's removal as Prime Minister during the 2011 political impasse.
Up to now, me not want apology yet. Me lawyer Michael Thomas Somare, me stop. 2 Supreme Court case, me win him. Judgment blow Supreme Court and this thick, 300 pages plus. Now I'm talking Michael Somare is still Prime Minister. Mani go past na woken karangi, ino apologize na ikam na Grand Chief idai. Mino like Karim this la heavy lo bell blow milpla, all people go forward. This live now Grand Chief idai, memory blow this la bad experience, you mean must plan him want him.
Fidelis Sukina, National MTV News.
This is National MTV News. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The silence from relevant authorities is becoming even more deafening as confirmed cases of COVID-19 in PNG continue to surge, already surpassing the 1,000 mark. As of a few hours ago today, PNG has reported 54 new cases of COVID-19, cases hailing from the nation's capital, Morobe, Central and Eastern Highlands province. This increases the country's total to 1,583 with 16 known deaths.
A statement issued from the Office of the Controller stated that the latest cases were reported in NCD, West Sepik, Medang, Morobe and Western Highlands provinces. As of earlier today, figures revealed that a total of 27 cases, 13 males and 14 females, have been tested positive in NCD. 15 cases were reported in West Sepik, Medang reported 8 new cases, 3 cases in Morobe, and a single case was reported in Western Highlands. The total number of confirmed cases for PNG now stands at 1,583 with 16 known deaths. Cases showed either symptoms of COVID-19, others asymptomatic at the time of testing, and persons who had come in contact with previous known cases. While cases continue to surge, authorities have yet to come out to make a public statement regarding a working plan of action to combat this fight against COVID-19. It is understood that Rita Flynn Complex is already open, but can only cater up to 45 beds. A handful of staff from the Port Mosby General Hospital have already tested positive to COVID-19, a grave concern which yet needs to be addressed. POM Gen was seen to have sent out an appeal on its social media platforms, appealing for urgent support to handle the resurgence of COVID-19 cases that have been identified at the hospital. There is also the issue relating to the supply of essential personal protective equipment and whether there is adequate stock to take the hospital and other small health facilities through this insurgence with no indications of a lockdown. All these concerns remain unanswered, awaiting relevant authorities to make its stance known. Meanwhile, the government is yet to approve a vaccine for the country's COVID-19 vaccination rollout. Although no particular vaccine has been suggested yet, a senior health official has hinted that storage for vaccines may play a big part in determining what vaccines will be brought on shore through the COVAX facility arrangement. Annette Cora, National EMTV News.
A total of 42 candidates have nominated for the Mosby Northwest by-election on the close of nominations this week. Returning Officer Desmond Timiaso confirms there might be delays in the order of draw for candidate box numbers as the country is in a period of mourning.
Nominations for the Mosby Northwest seat ended on Thursday this week with 42 candidates confirmed for the race. The order of draw was delayed due to the mourning period.
Accessible by election 11 weeks, but one time talk belong Grand Chief. Now that we are going through the mourning period, time to sorry look osembagatim extension lo desplace so desla by go back and lo commissioner yet DLR commissioner to actually come out na advice.
Runner-up in the 2017 national election, Lohia Boy Samuel is running under the Prime Minister's Pangu Party banner.
When I first sat with the Prime Minister, he also shares a lot of sentiments that most people who have come to reside in Port Moresby shares. Motokoita has been marginalized for a very long time. Motokoita has been displaced, and we get criticized for selling land. Mainly out of poverty.
He is the only indigenous intending candidate contesting the metropolitan seat, and he feels he has a better chance this time.
I believe that for the first time in a long time, the people of Motokoita are intact. Anobara, Elevala, Gabi, Tatana, and Barun are very much intact, and that will be carrying this team forward coming out of Ward 1. And we've gained a lot of support in the rest of the Northwest electorate.
Second runner-up from 2017, Joe Tonde, is contesting this time not under the party he formed but under Deputy Prime Minister Sam Basil's United Labour Party. Tonde had a controversial declaration in 2017 and was dismissed by the Electoral Commission. Sam Mekere was declared the winner. Only one female candidate is contesting the seat, Anna Bice. The youngest is only 29.
Nowadays, if you look at it, there's a lot of youths just hanging around, sleeping, lazing around, waking up to no reason at all, So I want to give them meaning.
The former city manager, Leslie Alu, is taking the late Sam Mekere's place under the PNG party.
Sam Mekere, and because he's one person that always wants to fight corruption, so I'm always want to support him as well.
The same aspirations of corrupt-free leadership shared by others also in the race.
But it's come earlier than we had anticipated, and so I will contest now and continue in 2022 as well.
Leaders that got independence for Papua New Guinea are dying out, and I realized that there's a vacuum for new group of leaders to come, so I'm raising my hand.
That there is huge imbalance in the distribution of political powers and sharing of national wealth.
A man who's married to the landowners wants to represent them.
So much has been said about Port Moresby City. You compare Port Moresby City with all the cities in the world and tell me, we are pushing squatter settlement and illegal settlements, like they're part of the urban development. What has happened to city planning?
He faces another opposition who wants to end evictions.
My work as a lawyer, I have assisted a lot of people dealing with evictions.
All in the mix, many have spoken about their desire to see change in the Mosby Northwest electorate. They only have 12 months. Bradley Valenaki, National EMTV News.
Treasurer Ian Ling-Starkey is impressed that the Eastern Highlands internal revenue has doubled in the last 3 years, commending the provincial government on its clear vision. Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu attributed this to improved provincial government policy and leadership. The Eastern Highlands Governor and the provincial administration team this week presented its 2021 budget to the Treasurer.
Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu this week presented a 4 million kina plus budget to the Treasurer Ian Ling-Starkey. Numu says this is a historical budget.
The budget for 2021 is projected. The increase from the national government grants for 2021 is over 369 million kina from 283 million in 2020, it's roughly 30% increase. And also the internal revenue estimate also increased from 24 million kina to 32 million kina for this year. So it's about 33%.
The governor attributed this success to the policies of the provincial government, with more focus on trade and investment, agriculture and road infrastructure as pillars to drive the local economy.
Internal revenue performance performed extremely well in 2020 from the provincial government taxes and fees, with a surplus of over 3 million kina. While GST recorded 2.5 million kina increase. Over 1 million kina from mining and petroleum royalties also began coming in for this year as a revenue adds recorded.
An impressed Treasurer Ian Ling-Starkey commended the provincial government for its clear vision.
Internal revenue, that's even more impressive. Looking at your explanation here, you increased from 17 million. That was back in 2017 when you came in. So you've doubled internal revenue. And I have to say, Governor, I think you'd be the first and only province that can attest to that. So well done on that. Well done on that.
The Eastern Highlands provincial government will continue to focus on road and infrastructure, agriculture and livestock investment, education, and the law and justice sector as key focus areas for development. Road and infrastructures are a priority because the provincial government believes that in order to empower the people with development services, road and infrastructure accessibility is vital. For agriculture, the Numu government believes that by encouraging more people to engage in agriculture, they will not only address the issue of unemployment, low income and overcrowding, but also promote self-reliance and independence. Numu said education is also a priority as it is a stronghold to support a better future, and boosting the law and justice sector through funding village courts as well as supporting local police is a way forward to protecting societies. The provincial government is focused and hopes to double the internal revenue again in record time as they create more investment opportunities in the province. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
This is Sunday's news. We'll be back with more after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back. Instead of a closer look tonight, we now cross live to Sejongai's indoor complex for the national house cry for the country's founding father, late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare. Day 7, and we have Western Highlands and Jiwaka provinces tonight.
Many thanks to Gerald Benil for that moving tribute. To open this proceedings with a word of prayer, I invite now former Mosby MP, the opposition whip from 1968 to 1977, Tramia Kambipi.
You mean better? Big belong God. God is stop all time. God triune God, God Papa, beginning of Holy Spirit. Today, on this planned day, me blow Western Highlands worker, come cry one them, let Michael Somare and the family, Papa God, long heaven, you look long me blow finish. Now me giving glory now honor big name to you. This blow crowd, the Papa God. Me blow little me name below you, Papa. Beginning Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Jesus Christ, you being used him in this blood. Honorable man, you righteous along. Find him in this blood country. Papa God. Me blow them you because you use him as a tool to bring Papua New Guinea to independence. Now I'm being play along. 17 years of Prime Minister. Now 46 years of Parliament. Politics. Me thank you to you. Papa God, you been using this special instrument. I'm a person below you. Picking in below you, you use him now. Bring him this young nation, he come on top of the same now. Papa, me give him honor and glory, long. God Papa and God beginning, God Holy Spirit. Now, Papa, me blessing him long, walk below him. Now, first, me lift him up and nine below you. Nine below you, him glorified. Nine below you, you're honored because you've been using led Somare. Long bring him this blood. Young black country come now long, 2021. Glory and honor and big name to you in Jesus Christ. Your name be praised forever. Jesus' name be better. Amen.
And the Western Highlands and Jiwaka provincial leaders are already at the house cry, seated inside the Sejongai's indoor complex. And the program will go on tonight and continue to day 8 tomorrow evening. Just a reminder, we will live stream on our EMTV online Facebook page the proceedings at the house cry tonight from 7 to 10 p.m. Trukai Sports is next. Details after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Like to at the same time to
welcome to Trukai Sports. Capital Rugby Union held its final weekend of pre-season matches at Bava Park, giving valuable time on the field for players and officials as they gear up for season ahead. A positive turnout by clubs and players has been encouraging, indicating the excitement of all participants.
As the Capital Rugby Union rolls into the final weekend of its preseason matches, clubs and players alike are eager to kick off the 2021 season, slated to commence on the 13th and 14th of March. 10 clubs will be participating this season, playing across 6 divisions, while 7 clubs have fielded teams in the women's division.
For our competition, obviously we now have 10 teams, 2 clubs joining us this season, MBB Marlins and just recently admitted to our competition, Royals. Unfortunately, because they've just, the application was just accepted, so there are a few teams that they need to sort out before they are ready to play, so we may not have them playing in the preseason, and that message has been conveyed to the club, and they are fully aware of that, and they are ready to play when the season proper starts on the 13th of March. The position, the Premier grade and the A grade have combined, so it's just a senior division and unlimited subs right throughout. So clubs get to filter the players, see where they're at, and sort of thing. But we've got up 6 divisions for the season proper. So we've got under 17s, under 19s, under 23s, A grade, Premier, and then the women's. So that's 6 grades for us. So it's going to be a action-packed weekend for us for 18 weeks. The season proper commencing on the 13th and 14th of March. Our season finishes towards the end of July, and then we go straight into our finals. Our grand final for this year will be on the 14th of August.
Looking forward to the new season, the CIU and its stakeholders are putting the disappointments of 2020 behind them, building on the appetite and enthusiasm for rugby in the nation's capital amongst players and fans alike. With an eye on junior development, the inclusion of the under-17 division is sure to drive interest from youngsters eager to get their start in the code of rugby.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got our fingers crossed, and we're praying that with the latest increase in people being got the COVID thing coming back, the numbers are increasing again. So we got our fingers crossed, but it's absolutely awesome to see everyone, especially the juniors. They waited a year to come out and have a run on Baba Park on field 1 and 2. So as you can see, the numbers, the interest is really there.
Huxley Lovai, Chukai Sports.
With the final series of the Women's National Soccer League nearing, the Papua New Guinea Football Association wants fans, especially men, to behave themselves when attending WNSL football matches. In previous matches, there were complaints about male fans causing disturbance and rowdy behavior. PNGFA Competitions Director Paul Isarua has called on fans to behave themselves and promised to beef up security to contain such unruly behavior.
We would like to appeal to all the spectators, all male spectators, all man who would come support within the finals and the closing rounds to at least come to support, come to the true spirit of football. And it is time that we give precedence to our women. This is all about the women, so we would like to see them, the interest and the finals finish off on a high note. So otherwise, like the Secretary said, we will also, our logistics planning too, we will also beef up on security, and we'll make sure that this does not take place within the next closing matches and the finals. So just a good kind appeal to all the spectators, especially all men, come to Weeblo support, and we give our women that precedence. Thank you.
You're watching National MTV News, the weather forecast for the next 24 hours when we come back.
True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight in the southern region: Port Mosby, cloudy with a shower or 2. Daru, cloudy with a shower or 2. Alotau, cloudy with a shower or 2. Kerma, cloudy with a shower or 2. And Popondetta, cloudy with showers. To the Momasa region: Vanimo, cloudy with rain showers. Wewak, cloudy with few showers. Medang, cloudy with brief showers. And Lay, cloudy periods with a few showers. To the New Guinea Islands region: Lorengau, partly cloudy with evening shower or 2. Kaveng, cloudy with a few showers. Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy with a shower or 2. Kimbe, cloudy with rain showers at times. Buka, mostly fine with afternoon showers developing. To the Highlands region: Mount Hagen, cloudy with rain showers and drizzles. Goroka and Kundiawa, cloudy with occasional showers. Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy periods with rain showers and drizzles.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Just a reminder, the House Cry will be live streamed on our Facebook page, MTV Online, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And that's the news, sports and weather for Sunday, 7th of March 2021. From all of us here at MTV, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.